this good news means. So if you're not familiar, the word gospel literally translates into good news. And it occurs to me that so much of how people are interpreting the gospel is not good news at all. There was some social media lash out at me and at my church recently about us being a place of inclusion and acceptance, because in these folks' estimation, churches shouldn't be that, and women should not be ordained, and I don't take it personal, but there is something that's kind of disheartening about it, just that culturally that's still a place where we are, and that people are trying to weaponize the gospel for their side, and feel like that's an acceptable thing to do, and the authority that they have to do that. And anyway, it just, for me, feels like it goes so far from what good news means, which is what the gospel is supposed to be about. And if you read it, it does require quite a bit of interpretation and context. I don't know if you know this, but the Presbyterian Church that ordained me requires us to have a master's degree that consists of about 90 credits, including learning Greek and Hebrew, appropriate exegetical, interpretive looks at those languages, Christian doctrine, church history, hours and hours of study on these things, so that when we read this stuff, it's not just our hot take. Maybe there's a little bit of that in there too, but it's also foundationally based in a lot of historical knowledge. And, the underscore, I think, of the whole gospel is about love, is about folks on the margins being lifted up. And, instead, there's this story where there's an adulterous woman, is what it's called now. Obviously, she couldn't have been the only one in the act, right? But that's how it's framed. And, she gets brought before Jesus, and Jesus looks around at all these people who are yelling and, calling her names and all this, and says, let he without sin cast the first stone. And the story says that little by little they put down their rocks, because they were going to literally throw rocks at this woman for her sin, I guess. And everybody puts down their rocks eventually and sort of walks away. And we got to put down our rocks. It's not how the gospel was meant to be used. It's not how it was meant to be read. The underlying theme of the whole thing is love and grace and forgiveness, not weaponization that we might strike down other people or their beliefs, or criticize lifestyles and choices of others. And if you do want to read a strict interpretation, you get to do that. You can do that. But I encourage you to apply it to yourself first. Take care of the log in your own eye before the speck in someone else's, yeah? Maybe if we could all do that a little bit better, we could have a little bit more of that calm and beautiful. So that's the good news today. You don't have to weaponize Scripture and use it against other people. You can use it to beckon you towards love. Grace and peace, friends.